Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jim Moran. Today we're going to try to figure out what in the world is kingdoms and castles, industry and infrastructure. It is yet another city builder. You would think that with all the city builders I've been playing and making videos on that I know how to make a good layout for a city, but I don't. And I don't think I ever will. I have this idea of how it's supposed to be done, and it just kind of all falls apart later on in the game when you have to like dismantle buildings and move them to another place and then keep doing it all over again. Like right now I'm pretty sure that I should be having all my farms on the outside and all my houses on the inside of the walls with all my pretty structures and all that stuff to keep my people happy, but I don't, and I won't. This is how it is. Before we get started, let's look at the settings menu here, and as you can see, this is a very simplistic game, so don't expect a lot because you're not going to get a lot. So you have a few options here. Invert zoom, I just discovered that and it's been driving me crazy, so thanks for that. I don't know why it's not automatically selected, but for the graphics you have show clouds, birds, VSync, fog, SSAO, post effects, which kind of make the game glow and lose a lot of detail, so I turn that off obviously. Anti-aliasing, shadows, and fog distance. This is kind of annoying because as you can see, fog, boom, you can't see shit, you have to zoom in. I have that off. There's no preset of like high, medium, low, whatever. You got the resolution and all that stuff, that's pretty good. And then you got some shortcuts that you can save and change. Finally, I can zoom in without having to completely relearn how to zoom. But what is Kingdoms and Castles? It is developed by Lion Shield, and I believe Lion Shield went into a small change because they're now called Lion Shield and not Lion Shield LLC. And Lion Shield is the one that's going to be releasing their new game, Nova Roma or something like that. It's like a Roman city builder, Roman Empire city builder, kind of like that. And this received a major update just to kind of close things off with this chapter of their over the lives and move on to new stuff. But this is still a pretty decent game. It's right on sale right now for like $8, $9, and that's why I picked it up. And honestly, that's about what you get with this game. About $9 worth of fun. You don't get much of it more. I've been playing this for about 5 hours now, and I think I've gotten to pretty much see everything the game has to offer for the single player experience, and I'll get to that in a second. So the way this works is pretty basic. You have 3 sources of food. You have wheat bread, fruits, and fish or pork. So you got the carbs, you got your fruits, and then you have your meat, which you have to provide to your villagers to keep them happy at a steady pace. And I've always had a problem with providing them with a lot of fish. They seem to love fish for some reason, but not pork. So I don't know what's up with that. Keep that in mind. I'm producing pretty much a steady supply of everything just so I can keep everybody fed and happy. And I could be building more stuff, but I'm kind of in the crossroads here. I'm debating on whether or not I should destroy this wall and expand it a little bit further so I can have more room. And you might be wondering, why, Dimitri, why do you have these walls in the middle of the town here like that and not have them uniform or whatever? Well, if you may notice here, well, actually, it's a good way to demonstrate. So if I build a ballista in the bottom or on this kind of wall, the outer perimeter of the circle, the dashed one, I guess, it shows you the maximum range, and the inner circle shows you the current range. So the higher that your buildings are, the more range they have. Now, as you can see with ballistas, they actually can't shoot near them. So I've kind of paired them with an archer tower just in case a dragon gets a little bit closer. Well, you said dragon. Well, a good thing that we're about to get invaded by both Vikings and dragons. The game starts off a little bit more forgiving. First it's the Vikings, then it's the dragons. You can't really take them on. They kind of destroy your shit, so then you're like, oh man, I have to actually fucking focus on this defensive shit on this game. So that's what you end up doing, and you should be doing it because it is important to actually have some defense. I found that I don't actually need an army because my defensive structures will take care of pretty much everything. However, if you want to invade other factions, you kind of have to. Now, there's no factions on this map. That is because I have it set as land. However, If when you're starting the game on the map generator, you choose the island layout, then in that case it's gonna have 4 or 5 or 3 separated islands with some much smaller islands surrounding it. And in that case, you can fill those islands with AI companions or factions rather, and you can choose to either invade them, engage in diplomacy with them, trade, and all that good stuff. I guess I should have done that because right now I'm at the point where I don't really care as much. What will keep happening, however, from what I've seen from trailers and everything, is that the strength of your invading forces will get a lot stronger. Now, there is a game mode where you can choose to not actually have anything invade your city, have like a peaceful gameplay. I don't think that's challenging because the game itself, I'm playing on the easy difficulty just so I can see what it has to offer, is very, not very, but fairly forgiving. It's not unfair, it's definitely fair, and I do appreciate that about the game. And it's just, it's a good time all around. I'm kind of waiting for this. I'm going to speed it up a little bit just so I can show the video what the combat looks like, and it's pretty fun. Obviously, I don't have to do much about it or with it. I just have to sit idle, and I have an archer unit here where I can actually command. I've built these stairs, and actually, okay, so they're going over here. I'm gonna send them over there. That's pretty good. I'm gonna go down to regular speed. Okay, so we got 3 invading ships, and we got 3 invading ships. Okay, this is getting a little bit more real. And as far as dragons, we got 2 dragons invading. They're going to be over here. Oh, you can actually move this. I had no idea. So this dragon attacks your offensive or defensive buildings, and this dragon just kind of attacks your resources. Initially starts with just that red dragon. So I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to play out. My ballistas do a lot of damage, but they're slow to reload and have a longer range. And my archer tents have a shorter range. They do less damage. But they actually take care of business on the close-up. So that's pretty good. The dragons actually got here a lot faster than I thought they would. Be careful with the lightning because it can actually damage your buildings. So that's something to worry about. So here's this dragon. It's actually attacking my walls, my castle block, which is good. That's what we wanted, to get distracted by that. It is setting a blaze to my ballista tower, but it was no match for my defensive strength. Alright, we're going to take my archers here, and we're going to move them right about here. As you may have noticed, the ballista is not actually a good structure to defend against Vikings because there's a lot of units. It only does 1 unit damage. It kills the unit that it shoots, but it's not good enough for that kind of defense. So keep that in mind when you're strategizing out. I'm gonna have my archers kind of decimate these people here, which is pretty nice. You just kind of have to have a good balance. And then you have a 3rd defensive tower, which is the Greek fire emplacement. I have not seen that be used yet because I was distracted, I suppose. But yeah, let's rain fire down on these guys, and it's gonna be over before it even starts, which is pretty nice. It kind of shows you the soldier skill here with the towers. The more they're up, the higher their skill goes. They don't necessarily have to actually fight even for that to happen. It just kind of happens. So this skill is 24 because I just built it, but we look at this one, it's 99 because I have had it for a long time. So there is an incentive to actually keep your structures for a long time and not let them get destroyed. But when the dragon comes in and attacks everything, it's kind of hard to keep track of that. Now, as you may have noticed, I didn't need to do anything special. This is not the game. This is not a similar game to Timberborn, where you actually have to create ladders and lucrative ways for your people to get up, or your beavers to get up to build this stuff. So this one is a lot more simple, and I do appreciate that. So right now, all I have to do is pretty much, if I want to build this up or whatever, I'll just do this. And bam, it's build up. So if I want to do this here, I'm going to build this up. So, yep, it won't have any structure. So you can't just keep building up. That's another thing. You have to actually have a secondary structure next to it just to, I guess, bring the people up there. So if I try to build a tower on its own, it's not going to go up. It's going to go 3 levels up, and then you have to have a supporting structure next to it. So you can just build another tower next to it. Kind of like what I've... This is the reason why I've done this, is because I can't actually get this high without this one. And I just kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone by putting 2 defensive structures instead of just 1 in that place. So that is pretty good. And then what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to go here to the castle. I'm going to hit the archer tower, and I'm going to put it here. It's going to get maximum range, which is awesome. And I think I'm going to put a ballista on this side here, because why the fuck not? You know, there's probably going to be some dragons coming this way. You never really know when they're going to come. Alright, so that's interesting that the map rotates. I just noticed that as well. And that's pretty much the basic thing about defenses. You do have maritime buildings, which I haven't actually messed with because I haven't needed to. There's no reason for me to leave my island. But if I do have to leave my island, this is the way to do it. I like that you can actually do a stone bridge and then do a sea gate as well. And you got a regular bridge if you want to cross some rivers or whatever. You got transport ship, you got merchant ship. The transfer ship, of course, is going to be transferring your units to another land so you can invade. Bring them down to regular speed. And obviously the dock here is necessary for all this stuff, for the cargo ship. Merchant ship also needs a dock, but cargo ship needs 2 docks. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Alright, well, that's it. Industry, this is all your industry buildings. You have the quarry and you have the large quarry. Now, the large quarry produces more units than 2 quarries, and same thing for the iron mine as well. And you would think, well, why can't I attach 4 regular size things there? Well, you can't. You can only attach 2 mines in 1 stone deposit here. And I was a little bit confused at first with these unusable stones. The way you remove them is by going to industry and selecting this stone rock removal. However, keep in mind that costs money and tools are kind of hard to come by unless you build at least 2 blacksmiths, is what I have here. And the tools are being used by the butcher and the fishmonger, so they can fillet the food and give you more servings. It does actually help with food, so make sure you do that as well. The land changes colors with fertility. You cannot plant crops in infertile land, and crops that are in regular land or fertile land are going to be better. Very fertile, you're going to have a higher yield and so forth. I think I need to expand a little bit more, but for now my city is self-sustaining, so I'm producing coal, I'm producing tools, iron, everything. I'm not on a tax deficit, my people are happy. The only reason why I would need to expand is so I can actually recruit more soldiers and build more defenses, and actually probably end up keeping this wall up and building another one, so just like I can have more defense layers and all that stuff. And keep in mind, you do actually have a decaying health in buildings. There's nothing you can do about that. It will just always be decaying. And I have a mason here. So for the industry, I think I do need another mason, because right now there's a lot of buildings that are not repaired and kind of wearing out a little bit quicker. That's just a passive thing that you cannot do anything about. I like that it gives you an overview of everything that has been happening in your thing here. So for example, this shows me the food, which is important. It gives you your yield. So I'm making 105 extra food, so I could bring more people into my city. And I like how easy it is to bring more people in your city. You just kind of build houses, and as long as your health and happiness are fairly high, they will just move into that building, which is pretty nice. I could build more buildings, but I kind of have to reconfigure everything here. I have to move the farms on the outside, more on fertile land and all that stuff. I have to build more horse carriages, which you can kind of select where they go. It's kind of like setting a route. It's pretty easy. Once every... Okay, yeah, we're not going to do that. Once every... As soon as possible. So, yeah, I'm going to have to build more fish fishing huts, but in order to do that I have to build more houses. In order to be able to afford more houses, you have to build more food. So it kind of goes like that. As long as you have a decent amount of food coverage, you should be fine. But as you can see right now, I have no idle villagers. So when you go to job priority, this is pretty interesting. So it kind of helps you determine what jobs get filled quicker. So you got the cemetery caretakers. I should probably move that down a little bit because it shouldn't be that important. But stockpile workers, there's a deficit here, so you can set a limit of how many workers you want in that area, and then it kind of shows you, okay, you need 20 to satisfy all the job vacancies in that building. So just keep that in mind. And kind of goes down and everything. So right now I have a deficit in performance because my jousters are actually here in the jousting arena, and I have 0 performers for the theater, which is pretty sad. If the happiness goes down, I'll just move it up, but for right now I'm at 80 happiness. I'm not worried about a thing, honestly. And then when you click the houses, it kind of shows you the bonuses here. So all this gets happiness bonus, and then you click on this one. This guy's really happy, so he has an extra one. Watching nearby jousts. You kind of have to trial and error and see what is missing. I can't really, it's just 1. I'm not going to be able to find that right now, but that's kind of a way to see, okay, what is missing from these people, you know, and just kind of just help them out. I think it's this one actually, the bread. No, because they already have that. This has road access. Well, now I'm kind of nearby library. That's probably it. Yep. So this is the library here. It does not reach. What's the great library? I think there's an actual small library. Yep, there's the small library right here. I could build another one right here. There's no big deal. I could build it over here. There's an empty spot. So on the advanced town menu, you have a few more things that you can choose from. You have cemetery styles. You have cemetery caretaker, which is this guy right here. And you can kind of expand on that plot land there. You got statues. I haven't really fucked with the statues. I don't know if it would actually help with defense, but I don't know, because it's kind of like a dragon statue. I don't know if a dragon would see it and be like, oh, I'm not gonna fuck with them. They're pretty cool people. You have a few more things. You have the garden here. The garden kind of looks like this. You can make it into a road, or you can actually make it into a garden. As you can see, my frame rate is tanking when I do that. I'm not sure why, but oh shit, I'm gonna not actually build all this. Yes, I do want to proceed. Okay, that's pretty good. You can manually designate chopping areas for the forest. I've chopped all this shit out, which is pretty good. These are wolf dens. Keep in mind, they will attack your people unless they're stockpiles, I believe. That's what it said. Let's check out a wolf den. Here we go. That's what it says. Will eat anything that comes near except peasants that work at a forester can be killed by soldiers. So if it's a forester, you're gonna be fine. I don't know why. That's kind of strange, but it is what it is. You have a few more things. You got a chapel, church, library, clinic, hospital, fountain, large fountain. I haven't built these two. Bathhouse, great library, cathedral, which kind of converts, it has a chance to convert Vikings into your villagers, which is nice. Jousting arena and theater. Speaking of fountain and bathhouse, I like the irrigation mechanic of this game. You have this Noria, it's a water mill, and it kind of pushes water, blah blah blah. So I only had one of these. It was right there, and the water stopped right about here, and it wasn't supplying the bathhouse. So I had to build another one just so I can provide more range for the water, so it can go further, which is pretty interesting. So I'm sacrificing 7 workers instead of 1. I wonder what would happen if I destroy this and kind of have this one only, but I believe it's all going to be about the same result. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks, and you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3 blocks. I'm not sure if it was 3 blocks that was blocking this, but we might never have to find out. That is it for the advanced town. So yeah, I want to build a cathedral. I was thinking of building it here, but as you can see, it's not reaching any of my houses. So I was going to build it here, But in order to do that, I have to actually move all these farmlands and probably put them somewhere here or on this side. Yeah, as you can see, it takes a little bit of planning. I have to remove this irrigation and put it on top of the road, because you can build the irrigation on top of the road. It doesn't actually block the road, but it does block buildings from being built. It's something to keep in mind. And then, yeah, you got food. You got food. You got the granary. You got the farm, orchard. Sorry, produce storage. You need that because after winter, all the perishables will perish. Now you got the baker. So yeah, you have that raw material. You know, you got the fruit and you got the wheat and everything. You got the pigs. But you know, without a butcher, you can't get more fillets. Without a baker, you can't get bread. So let's see, the baker, it produces 5 bread from 1 wheat and 1 coal. So yeah, it's kind of like anno, where you get the raw material in and it kind of converts it into a more valuable recipe. You butcher, small market, and then you got the reservoirs. The reservoirs are useful because they make the land fertile. So this large land was infertile, and then I put the reservoir here and it's not fertile. I wonder if it's going to be more fertile if I put the large one. I know that the large one gives you a bigger range of fertility. I'm just not sure if it's a higher quality of fertility as well. So that's about it for this game. You're just going to keep getting invaded by Vikings and dragons. I think after putting this game aside, which is what I'm going to do right now, if I come back to it, I'm going to have to try and play with the islands and see what it'd be like to kind of fight the AI or engage in diplomacy and all this stuff. And now that I kind of know what the layout should look like with these games, I did have to destroy a lot of houses here and move everything here. So yeah, it's just a matter of destroying things and rebuilding it. So that's a good mechanic, I guess. It kind of forces you to rethink your strategy, and the second time you go into it, you have a little bit more of a thoughtful approach. It is important to note that you cannot build far away from roads. So let's see, if I want to build a hovel here, as you can see, you have 3 spaces of building. What I would have liked to see is when you're actually trying to build a road, that it would show you how far out you can build, kind of like City Skylines does. Well, not kind of exactly like City Skylines does. That would have been a lot better for me, because now I kind of have to eyeball it. So it's 3 spaces on the road. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this road has to be placed here, and then connect that. So as you can see, when I go to build a hovel, all this is now buildable because, well, because of this here, but also if I expand here, all these 3 plots are going to be buildable. So that's it. That's my only major complaint about the game. The content is decent enough for the price on sale, for 40% off. For full price, there's a lot more city builders out there. In all honesty, you got Timberborn, you got all these post-apocalyptic city builders. There's just so many. You got Anno as well, which I've sunk a lot of hours on Anno, and I had to stop playing it because it's just a time management sinking bullshit thing that happens with that game. So yeah, that's about it with this one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.